Amber Hudson awoke to the gentle nudging of Spark against her cheek. The small red dragon chirped softly as sunlight filtered through the crystalline windows of her quarters aboard the starship Celestial Explorer. It had been 3 years since Amber discovered the abandoned planet with its strange elfin ruins. Humans had expanded across the galaxy for centuries, encountering no other intelligent life until now. The ruins suggested an ancient civilization of beings with pointed ears and slender forms depicted in weathered murals. Amber touched her newly pointed ears. An unexpected side effect of the alien atmosphere had transformed the human explorers, giving them elfin features. The science team called it adaptive genetic response, but the crew simply called themselves elves now. The transformation came with unexpected abilities. Amber could now understand the strange symbols carved into the temple walls. Symbols no one else could decipher. Blaze and Ember. Her 2 larger dragons lounged. At the foot of her bed, their scales shimmered with internal fire, casting dancing lights across the walls. Dragons, once thought mythical creatures, were native to this world. They had bonded with Amber after she saved a clutch of eggs from a collapsing. Cavern Captain Lily Martinez knocked on her door. "Amber, come quick. The natives are back." Amber hurried to the bridge with her dragons following close behind. Through the view screen, she saw hundreds of the planet's original inhabitants returning in massive organic ships. These beings resembled the murals in the ruins, tall with silver skin and luminous eyes. They approached with open hands, said, "Lily, sensors detect no weapons, but their technology is unlike anything we've seen." Amber studied the ships. "Strange, they look almost alive." Communications Officer Kate Wilson turned from her console. "Their leader is requesting to speak with someone called the Awakened One." The crew looked at Amber. The natives had been watching from afar, studying the humans. Since their arrival, the transformation, the dragons, everything had meaning to them. "Prepare the shuttle," said Amber. "I need to meet them." The flight to the surface was tense. Amber sat with Spark curled around her shoulders while Blaze and Ember flanked her protectively. The shuttle landed in a clearing near the largest temple. As Amber stepped onto the ramp, hundreds of the silver beings bowed. Their leader, a tall figure adorned with glowing symbols, approached. "You bear the sacred marks." The leader gestured to Amber's ears and the dragons. "The prophecy speaks of one who would return changed by the stars, who speaks the ancient tongue, who commands the flame guardians." Amber had suspected this, but hearing it confirmed sent chills through her. "You think him some kind of prophesied figure." The leader extended a hand, revealing a small crystalline device. "We have waited 10,000 cycles for your return. Our ancestors left when the great darkness came. They said the Awakened One would return. When the darkness threatened again, the device projected images showing a terrible war against shadowy entities that consumed stars. The final images showed beings resembling the transformed humans with dragons at their side, driving back the darkness." Amber felt Spark tense on her shoulder. The dragon sensed something. The sky darkened unnaturally as massive shapes appeared in orbit. "They have found us again." The leader looked skyward. "The darkness returns. We need the Awakened One." Amber felt the strange connection to this world grow stronger. The symbols on the temple walls suddenly made perfect sense. They weren't just writing. They were instructions, activation codes for planetary defense systems, dormant for millennia. She placed her hand against the temple wall, feeling power surge through her. The dragons roared in unison, their scales glowing brighter. Lily called through the communicator. "Amber, massive objects appearing in orbit. They don't match any known configuration. The Celestial Explorer is powering weapons, but whatever those things are, they're huge. We need to activate the defense grid." Amber replied, "I can do it, but I need time." The silver beings formed a protective circle around her as Amber began tracing symbols on the wall. As she completed sequence caused sections of the temple to hum with power blaze, and Ember grew restless. Sensing the approaching threat, Spark chirped a warning as dark shapes appeared at the edges of the clearing. The leader shouted a command and warriors moved to intercept the shadowy forms. "The darkness takes physical form when near planets. We will hold them. Amber worked faster, her fingers flying across the symbols as knowledge poured into her mind. This world had been a fortress, once, the last, bastion against an enemy that devoured light itself. Energy surged through the ground beneath them. Ancient machinery awakened. Deep below, massive generators powered up. The entire planet was a weapon. Amber completed the final sequence and felt the surge of power. The temple obelisks glowed with brilliant light, shooting beams skyward, connecting with other temples across the planet, forming a glowing network. The dragons roared in unison, their scales resonating with the same energy somehow connected to the planet's defense system. In orbit, massive energy fields formed around the planet, catching the dark entities in a web of light. The silver beings cheered as the darkness recoiled. The leader approached Amber with reverence. "You have saved us." Awakened. "One, but this is only the beginning. The darkness has found us after 10,000 years of hiding. It will return with greater numbers." Amber looked at the dragons, then to the stars. This wasn't what she had planned when she joined the exploration mission, but sometimes destiny chose you. She activated her communicator. "Lily, tell Earth we found something. They need to send everyone they can. The galaxy needs defenders." As if understanding the gravity of the moment, the dragons spread their wings and roared defiantly at the sky. The battle for the stars had just begun, and humanity, now elven humanity, would lead the charge. 6 months passed since Amber activated the ancient defense system. The planet, now called Haven, became the headquarters for humanity's defense against the darkness. More ships arrived each week, bringing soldiers, scientists, and explorers. Many underwent the same transformation as Amber, gaining elfin features and abilities. Amber spent her days in the Great Library, a vast underground complex filled with knowledge from the ancient civilization. The silver beings, called the Luminary, taught her their language and history. They had once ruled over 1,000 worlds before the darkness came. Spark never left her side. The small red dragon had grown slightly larger, but remained the most attached to Amber, Blaze, and Ember. Now massive creatures with wingspans of 15 feet had become the guardians of the temple. Training with them daily, Amber learned to channel their fire abilities through her own body. General Samantha Rivers, head of Earth Defense Force, entered the library. "Amber, we need you." The scouts have returned from the Orion sector. Amber followed Samantha to the war room, where holographic displays showed star systems and movement patterns of the darkness. Scouts had been tracking their advance, trying to predict where they would strike next. "The darkness has consumed 3 more systems," said Samantha. "Each one rich with life. They seem drawn to living worlds." Amber studied the patterns, noticing something the others had missed. They aren't random attacks, they follow specific energy signatures. The same energy our transformed bodies emit. "They can sense us," the luminary leader named Alinar nodded gravely. "That is why they hunted our ancestors to near extinction. Our biology produces a resonance with the cosmic energy they seek to devour." "How do we stop them?" asked Samantha. "We need to understand what they truly are," answered Amber. "The ancient texts speak of the darkness as hungry voids, not as attackers. They feed, they don't conquer." Amber had spent months studying the ancient defense system that protected Haven. It created a field that masked their energy signatures from the darkness, but it couldn't be expanded to protect other worlds without similar technology. Spark suddenly perked up, chirping excitedly. The dragon leaped from Amber's shoulder onto the holographic display, disrupting the image but revealing something hidden beneath a star map. Activated, showing locations across the galaxy marked with familiar symbols. "What is that?" asked Samantha. Alinar moved closer, his eyes widening. "Sister worlds, all protected as this one was, fortresses against the darkness." Amber realized what this meant. The ancient civilization had built defense systems on multiple worlds before they retreated. The dragons somehow knew how to reveal this hidden information. "If we can activate these other defense systems," Amber said, "we could create a network across the galaxy, a shield against the darkness. But you are the only one who can read the activation codes," said Samantha. Amber looked at her dragons. "Then we'll have to visit each world." The plan was set. Amber would lead missions to each sister world to activate their defense systems. The Celestial Explorer would be their transport upgraded with luminary technology and armed with weapons designed to harm the darkness. The day before departure, Kate Wilson approached Amber in the garden where she trained with the dragons. The communications officer had also transformed her skin, taking on a slight silver hue similar to, "The luminary, I want to come with you," Kate said. "I can feel something changing in me. The luminary say I have the gift of far speaking. I can communicate across vast distances." Amber welcomed Kate to the team. They would need every advantage. The mission would be dangerous. The darkness would sense them once they left Haven's protective field. Dawn broke over the horizon as the Celestial Explorer prepared for launch. Amber stood with her 3 dragons at the loading ramp Blaze and Ember would ride, in a special hold designed for them, while Spark remained with Amber Lily. Martinez, now Admiral of the growing fleet, saluted Amber. "The fate of humanity rests with you." Awakened one. Amber nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility the luminary had given her special armor crafted from materials that helped mask her energy signature. It would provide some protection, but not indefinitely. The ship launched, breaking through the atmosphere and entering the space above Haven. The protective energy field around the planet shimmered below them, a blue-green dome shielding all within. Eleanor communicated from the surface. "The nearest sister world is in the Cygnus system. 3 weeks travel, even with our enhancements to your engines. The darkness will sense you once you leave our system. Be swift. Be cautious." The journey through space was tense. Amber spent hours practicing with Spark, learning to channel the dragon's energy. The little dragon could now create protective shields around them, both a skill that might prove vital. On the 7th day, alarms blared through the ship. Kate rushed to the bridge. Contacts approaching fast. They don't match any known configuration. The darkness had found them sooner than expected. 3 shadowy forms, resembling massive jellyfish with tendrils spanning kilometers, pursued the ship. Their darkness absorbed the light around them, creating unnatural voids in space. Evasive maneuvers, shouted Captain Gloria Reyes, the ship's pilot. But the darkness moved, with impossible speed surrounding them. Amber felt a strange pulling sensation. The darkness wasn't attacking the ship. It was trying to extract the energy from the transformed humans aboard. Blaze and Ember roared from their hold, sensing the danger. Amber released them onto the ship's observation deck. The 2 massive dragons pressed against the reinforced glass, their scales glowing with internal fire. Amber placed her hands on them, feeling their energy flow through her. This was something they had practiced but never attempted at full scale. "Focus your thoughts on the dragons," Kate said through the ship's communication system. "I can amplify the connection." Amber closed her eyes, visualizing the energy pathways through her body, through the dragons and out into space. The temperature on the deck rose dramatically as Blaze and Ember began to glow white-hot through the viewing port. Amber directed the concentrated dragon fire as a beam of pure energy. It struck one of the shadow entities, causing it to recoil. The darkness emitted a silent scream, felt rather than heard as it retreated. The other 2 entities moved back, momentarily confused by the weapon that could harm them. "Keep going," Kate encouraged. "They're retreating," Amber maintained the connection until her muscles screamed with effort. The dragons too were reaching their limit. Finally, the darkness fled, disappearing into the void of space. The crew cheered, but Amber collapsed to the deck, exhausted. Spark curled against her protectively. "Hurt them," said Amber when she recovered. "But they'll be back. And now they know what we're doing." The Celestial Explorer continued its journey toward the first sister world. The encounter had proven they could fight back, but also revealed the enormous power of their enemy. The Cygnus system came into view 2 weeks later, a blue giant star with 12 planets orbiting it. According to the ancient star map, the 4th planet was their destination. The 4th planet of the Cygnus system hung before them like a dead jewel. Once teeming with life, now barren and cold, scans showed ruins similar to those on Haven, but no signs of current habitation. Amber prepared for surface exploration with Kate, and a security team led by Officer Maya Bell All had undergone the transformation, their elfin features now pronounced. Spark perched on Amber's shoulder, while Blaze and Ember flew alongside the shuttle, As it descended through the thin atmosphere, the massive dragons had proven they could survive in space for short periods, their bodies generating their own oxygen. The shuttle landed near what appeared to be a temple structure similar to the one on Haven. Dust swirled around them as they stepped onto the surface. "This world died long ago," said Kate, her newfound abilities allowing her to sense impressions left in the environment. "The darkness came here first." Amber approached the temple entrance. Finding the activation point would be challenging. On a dead world, the energy that powered Haven's defenses came from the planet's core. If this world was truly dead, that energy might be gone. Blaze suddenly lifted his head, growling at something in the distance. Maya raised her weapon, scanning the horizon movement at 2:00. Maya reported something big through swirling dust. A massive shape emerged, a dragon larger than any they had seen before. Its scales were not the fiery red and orange of Amber's dragons, but a deep blue, almost black. Its eyes glowed with ancient intelligence. "It lives here alone," said Kate, her voice filled with wonder. "It survived when everything else died." The great dragon approached cautiously, examining the humans and their dragon companions. It focused particularly on Amber, sensing something in her. Amber reached out mentally, trying to communicate as she did with her dragons. She felt a response, distant and alien, but recognizable. "The guardian remains," said the voice in her mind. "When all else perished, I endured. The darkness came. The people fled. Some to your world. But I could not abandon my post. You protect the defense system." Amber thought back. The dragon lowered its massive head. "I am the defense system, the last of the ancient guardians. My life force powers what remains." Amber understood. The dragons were not just companions to the ancient civilization. They were integral to their technology. Their life energy powered the defensive systems. "Can you help us?" she asked. "The darkness returns. It threatens all worlds." The guardian dragon considered her. Then, with a deep rumble, it extended one massive claw. A crystal similar to the one the luminary leader had shown her sat in its palm. "This contains what you seek. The knowledge to reawaken dead worlds." Amber took the crystal, feeling power pulse within it. But there was more. The guardian was dying, its energy nearly spent after millennia of solitary vigilance. "We need to restore this world," Amber said to her team. "Not just activate its defenses, but bring it back to life." Maya looked skeptical. "How do we revive an entire planet?" The crystal, Amber replied. "It contains more than activation codes. It's a genetic repository. The complete biological record of this world." Kate stepped forward, placing her hand beside Amber's on the crystal. "I can sense it. Living memory, waiting to be reborn." The guardian dragon watched them, its eyes dimming slightly. "My final task." To pass the flame spark chirped excitedly, hopping from Amber's shoulder onto the crystal. The little dragon began to glow, its scales resonating with the energy inside the crystal blaze, and Amber moved closer, forming a circle. "We need to take this back to the ship," said Amber. "We need the scientific team." The return to the Celestial Explorer was quick. The guardian dragon followed, flying alongside their shuttle. Its massive wings barely needed to move in the thin atmosphere. Once aboard the ship's chief scientist, Elena Gray, examined the crystal. "It's a complete terraforming package," she explained, "designed to restore a dead world. But it needs a power source. Something to jumpstart the process." The guardian dragon communicated through Kate. "I will provide the initial energy, but it will consume what remains of my life force." Amber protested, looking for alternatives, but the ancient dragon was resolute. "I have waited 12,000 years for this moment," the dragon told them. "My purpose is fulfilled." The cycle continues. The plan was set. The crystal would be placed at the planet's core, accessible through an ancient shaft. The guardian would channel its remaining energy into the crystal, activating the terraforming process. The ship systems would monitor and support the transformation. Amber descended with the guardian and her dragons. The shaft led deep into the planet. Through cracks in the passage, they could see the cold core, once molten, now solid. "This is where it begins," said the Guardian. "This is where it ends for me and begins for many." The crystal was positioned at the center of the chamber. The guardian dragon curled around it. Amber and her dragons formed a circle connecting with the ancient creature. "Begin," commanded the Guardian. Amber channeled her energy through spark, blaze, and ember. The three dragons roared there, fire converging on the crystal. The Guardian added its own power, a blue flame that dwarfed the others. The crystal absorbed the energy, glowing brighter and brighter. Then, with a pulse that shook the chamber, it activated. Tendrils of light shot outward, penetrating the planet's core. The guardian dragon began to fade, its physical form becoming transparent. "I join with the world," it said, its voice growing fainter. "I become the world." Amber felt tears on her cheeks as the magnificent creature dissolved into pure energy. The crystal pulsed rhythmically, now sending waves of regenerative power throughout the planet. The team returned to the surface and witnessed a miracle. Already the atmosphere was thickening. Sensors detected microorganisms multiplying at an exponential rate. The planet's core had reignited, providing magnetic protection and heat. Within days, patches of primitive vegetation appeared. Water began to flow from underground reservoirs. The defense system activated, automatically powered by the reborn planetary core. Kate received a transmission from Haven. The Luminary sensed the reawakening of their sister world. Ships were already en route to establish a colony. Amber stood on a hillside watching the transformation, her dragons beside. Her spark seemed different somehow, more focused, more aware. The little dragon had absorbed something from the Guardian, a fragment of ancient knowledge. The celestial explorer detected a signal from the next sister world. This one showed signs of current habitation. The signal was weak but distinct. A call for help. Amber gathered her team. "We need to move quickly. The darkness will sense this world's rebirth. They will come in force before departing." Amber visited the temple one last time. Inside, where the guardian dragon had first appeared, a clutch of eggs now rested. 7 blue-black spheres humming with energy. "Life finds a way," said Kate, standing beside her. "The guardian lives on." Amber selected one of the eggs, feeling drawn to it. The shell was warm, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. "This one comes with us," she said. "The others will be safe here for the colonists." The celestial explorer broke orbit, setting course for the next sister world. As they departed, sensors detected multiple dark shapes converging on the system from various directions. "They sense the rebirth," said Captain Reyes. "We need to hurry." Amber looked at the dragon egg, now secured in a special containment unit. "It's like they're drawn to life," she mused, "or rather to the energy of life." Kate nodded. "They consume the energy that powers all living things. The energy that powers us." Amber realized something. The transformation that had given them elfin features had also changed their energy signature, making them more detectable to the darkness, but it had also given them the ability to fight back. The ship accelerated to maximum speed. The race to activate all sister worlds before the darkness consumed them had begun, and now they had a new weapon: understanding. The journey to the next sister world was fraught with danger. 3 times the darkness found them, each encounter more difficult than the last. Amber and her dragons fought them off, but the strain was showing. The blue-black egg had grown warmer, responding to Amber's touch. Spark seemed particularly interested in it, often curling around the containment unit, chirping softly. Kate had developed her far-speaking abilities further, now able to communicate with Haven across vast distances. The Luminary taught her techniques to shield her mind from detection. Maya and the security team trained, constantly developing weapons that could harm the darkness based on what they learned from each encounter. Elena worked with the science team, studying the crystal from the Cygnus planet, discovering its secrets. Captain Reyes announced their approach to the third sister world. This one, called Lyra by the star charts, showed signs of active civilization. Sensors detected cities, technology, and energy signatures. Unlike the barren world of Cygnus, Lyra was vibrant green and blue, a paradise, similar to Haven but larger. The celestial explorer entered orbit, establishing contact with the surface. "We are the guardians of Lyra," came the response. "You are welcome." Awakened. 1. We have awaited your arrival. The reception on the surface was unlike anything they expected. The inhabitants of Lyra resembled the Luminari, but with subtle differences. Their skin had a golden hue rather than silver. Their civilization had flourished, hidden from the darkness for thousands of years. Their leader, Zorian, greeted Amber with reverence. Our seers predicted your coming. The one who would unite the sister worlds against the consuming void. Amber was taken to their central temple where a defense system similar to Haven's operated at minimal capacity. Just enough to hide their world, but not enough to fight back. Zorian explained their dilemma. We have maintained our shield for generations, conserving energy, staying hidden. But our core grows cold, our system fails, the darkness will find us soon. The dragons were welcomed with particular honor. Zorian explained that Lyra's own dragons had died out centuries ago, weakening their defense system. The egg Amber had brought caused quite a stir. The Lyrans recognized it immediately. A guardian egg, they called it. The highest form of dragon consciousness. Amber shared what they had learned from the Cygnus world and the ancient guardian. The Lyrans filled in more gaps in their knowledge. The darkness was not truly alive, Zorian explained. At least not as we understand life. It exists between dimensions, feeding on the energy that connects all living things. It cannot be reasoned with, cannot be understood in our terms. It simply consumes. Zorian took Amber deep beneath the central temple to a massive chamber. There, in a pool of glowing liquid, floated a crystal much larger than the one from Cygnus. This is our heart, Zorian said. The core of our defense system. But it's failing without dragon fire to sustain it. The energy fades, Spark chirped excitedly, flying around the crystal. The little dragon seemed to understand something. Amber didn't. They need dragon fire. Amber realized aloud. To power the crystal to enhance the planetary defenses, Kate, who had joined them, nodded. They need what we brought. Not just the egg, but your dragons, Blaze and Ember, were brought to the chamber. Their reaction was immediate. Both dragons approached the crystal, their scales glowing brighter. Let them connect with it, said Zorian. They will know what to do. Amber watched as her dragons circled the crystal pool. Their wings extended, their tails touching. They began to glow, first red, then white-hot. The crystal responded, pulsing with renewed energy. The Lyrans gathered around the chamber, chanting in their ancient language. The sound resonated with the crystal, amplifying its power. Amber felt drawn to join the circle, Kate beside her. Spark suddenly dove into the glowing pool, disappearing beneath the surface. Amber cried out, but Zorian held her back. Watch, he said. The little one understands. The pool began to bubble and churn. The crystal pulsed faster, brighter. Then, with a flash that temporarily blinded everyone, the chamber was filled with brilliant light. When Amber's vision cleared, she gasped. Spark hovered above the pool, transformed. The little red dragon now glowed with inner light. Its scales shimmered with patterns, similar to the ancient symbols. Multiple wings had sprouted from its back. The first ascension, Zorian whispered in awe. Your companion has connected with the ancient knowledge it has evolved. The transformed Spark flew to Amber, landing on her shoulder. The connection between them was stronger than ever. Amber could feel the dragon's thoughts, not just impressions but clear concepts. The planetary defense system surged to full power, energy shields expanding outward, covering the entire world. Sensors that had been dormant for centuries activated, scanning the surrounding space. And none, too. Soon a massive darkness appeared at the edge of the system, larger than any they had encountered before. This was not a scout or a hunting party. This was an invasion. Zorian looked grim. They sensed the activation. They come in force. Amber felt a strange calm. The blue-black egg she had brought began to shake and crack. The guardian egg was hatching. In the midst of crisis, new life emerged. The shell split, revealing not a dragon hatchling, but a swirling mass of energy that coalesced into dragon form. Its scales deepened from blue-black to something beyond color. Its eyes opened, revealing stars. The new guardian dragon rose, hovering before Amber. It spoke not in words, but in pure thought. We fight. The battle for Lyra began. The darkness surrounded, the planet probing the energy shield looking for weaknesses. The guardian dragon, newly hatched yet ancient in knowledge, flew into orbit. Blaze and Ember followed with Amber and transformed Spark. Riding on Blaze's neck, Kate coordinated from the surface, using her far-speaking to maintain communication. The Celestial Explorer joined the defense led by Captain Reyes and Maya. The darkness attacked not with weapons, but with its very nature, attempting to absorb the energy shield wherever it touched. The shield dimmed. Amber directed the dragons to these points. The guardian dragon led the defense. Its power surprising for one. So newly born, Spark, now transformed, created energy webs that trapped portions of the darkness. Blaze and Ember fired, concentrated, beams that severed the darkness connections. For hours the battle raged, the shield held but weakened. The dragons grew tired. Even the guardian showed signs of strain. Then Kate contacted Amber from the surface. The Lyrans have a plan. They can amplify the dragon's power through the crystal network. But you must return to the temple. Amber reluctantly withdrew from the battle, returning to the surface. The dragons followed, exhausted from the extended fight. The Lyrans had formed a massive circle around the crystal pool. Thousands of them linked in harmony, Zorian explained. Our combined life energy channeled through you, and the dragons will create a weapon not seen since ancient times. It was dangerous. Zorian admitted it would drain the Lyrans significantly, but they were willing to make the sacrifice. Amber and the dragons took position at the center of the circle. The guardian dragon, though young, understood its role. It entered the crystal pool, submerging completely. Spark followed, then Blaze and Ember. Amber hesitated, then stepped into the pool herself. The liquid was not water, but pure energy. It didn't burn, but tingled against her skin. She felt the dragons around her, their consciousness merging with hers. The Lyrans began their chant. The crystal pulsed. With their combined life force, Amber felt power building within her, within the dragons. A connection forming not just between them, but with the planet itself. In orbit, the darkness pressed harder against the weakening shield. Sensing victory, Amber released the gathered energy upward. A beam of pure light shot from the temple, piercing the clouds, the atmosphere, and into space. It struck the center of the darkness. The effect was immediate. The darkness recoiled, parts of it dissolving into nothingness. The beam expanded, forming a new kind of shield, not just around Lyra, but extending outward. The darkness retreated, fleeing from the light. Sensors showed them scattering across the system. The battle was won, but at a cost. The Lyrans were exhausted. Many would need days to recover. The dragons emerged from the pool, drained but alive. Amber herself could barely stand. The guardian dragon approached her, its form more solid now, more defined. You have done well. Awakened one. But this victory is temporary. The darkness will return. And there are still 3 more sister worlds to awaken. Kate helped Amber from the pool. The crystal network is active, she said. We're receiving signals from the remaining worlds. One is under attack. The Celestial Explorer raced toward the 4th sister world. The planet, called Vega by the star charts, was already under siege by the darkness. The native population desperately holding on with failing defenses. Amber stood on the bridge watching the tactical display. Her body had recovered from the battle at Lyra, but her mind still reeled from the connection she had experienced. The dragons, too, had changed. Spark remained in its transformed state, with multiple wings and glowing patterns. The guardian dragon had grown rapidly, now nearly the size of Blaze and Ember. Its presence commanding respect from the entire crew. Captain Reyes plotted the fastest approach to Vega. We can use the gravity of the gas giant in the system to slingshot us in faster, she explained. But well, be detected immediately. Kate focused her abilities, sensing ahead. I can feel them, she said. The people of Vega. They fight with courage, but their strength fades. Their dragons are few. The Lyrans had provided them with a smaller version of their crystal, Zorian explaining that it could be used to boost Vega's defenses temporarily. It wasn't a permanent solution, but might buy them time. Maya prepared the security team for ground combat. We might need to fight our way to their defense system, she said. The darkness has taken physical form on the surface. Elena monitored the blue-black guardian dragon running tests on its rapidly evolving biology. Its cellular structure is unlike anything I've seen, she reported. It's adapting, changing, becoming something new. Amber felt the connection with all 4 dragons growing stronger. She could now see through their eyes, feel what they felt. The guardian dragon shared glimpses of ancient memory. Knowledge from before the darkness came. We need a new strategy, Amber said to her team. The darkness adapts. Each time we fight, it learns. We need to do more than just activate defenses. We need to take the fight to them. The journey to Vega took 8 days, even with the enhanced engines pushing beyond safety limits. By the time they arrived, the situation had grown desperate. The planet hung before them, partially obscured by swirling darkness. The defense shield, visible as a pale blue dome, covered only one continent. The rest of the world already consumed. Captain Reyes maneuvered the ship toward the protected zone. Amber and the dragons prepared for immediate deployment. Kate established contact with the surface. "We are the last defenders," came the response. "Barely. 3,000 of us remain. Our temple holds, but not for long." The shuttle launched under heavy fire. The darkness, sensing Amber's presence, concentrated its attack. The guardian dragon flew ahead, clearing a path. Spark created protective shields around. The shuttle blaze and Ember provided covering fire. They landed in what had once been a magnificent city. Now only ruins remained. The central temple still stood surrounded by defensive positions. The inhabitants of Vega resembled both humans and Luminari, their forms shifting between appearances. Their leader greeted them with desperate hope. "The awakened one comes at last," he said. They called him Thalon. "We fight a losing battle. Our dragons are down to the last 3. All hatchlings too young to provide the power we need." Amber was taken to the inner sanctum of the temple. Here 3 small dragons, no larger than Spark had been when Amber first found him, huddled together. Their scales dulled their energy. "Faint, the crystal network here was damaged," Thalon explained. "Sections of it destroyed when the darkness first attacked. What remains operates at minimal capacity." Amber placed the Lyran crystal beside the damaged network. It pulsed with energy, temporarily strengthening the shield. But it wouldn't last. The guardian dragon examined the young dragons, communicating with them in ways Amber couldn't understand. Then it turned to her. "They can be saved. But this world is lost. We must take them and the remaining defenders. The crystal network must be preserved." Kate confirmed the assessment with her far-speaking ability. "The darkness has consumed too much of this world. The core is contaminated. Even if we could strengthen the defenses, it would fail within days." Thalon and his people had already accepted this truth. They had prepared for evacuation. Ships were ready but couldn't break through the darkness surrounding the planet. "We need a diversion," said Maya. "Something to clear a path for the evacuation ships." Amber looked at the damaged crystal network. Then at her dragons. "I have an idea." The plan was dangerous. The crystal network would be overloaded, creating a massive energy pulse. It would temporarily disperse the darkness, creating an escape window. But someone would need to remain behind to trigger it manually. The automated systems were too damaged. Amber volunteered, but the guardian dragon intervened. "This is my purpose," it communicated. "This is why I was born." Captain Reyes prepared the Celestial Explorer to lead the evacuation fleet. The remaining Vegans gathered what they could, including historical records and genetic samples. The 3 young dragons were carefully transported aboard. Amber connected with the guardian dragon, one last time, sharing memories, feelings, purpose. The great dragon had only recently hatched, yet carried the wisdom of ages. "I will find you again," it promised, across stars, across time. The evacuation began under heavy fire. Blaze, Ember, and Spark provided cover as thousands of Vegans boarded the ships. The guardian dragon positioned itself at the crystal network, connecting with the damaged system. The final ship launched with Amber. Kate and Thalon aboard the Celestial Explorer led the fleet toward the edge of the system. the darkness sensing. Their escape closed in. Now said Amber on the surface. The guardian dragon released its energy into the crystal network. The damaged system accepted the sacrifice, power built to impossible levels. Then, with a flash visible from space, the overload triggered a wave of pure energy expanded outward, temporarily pushing back the darkness, creating a corridor of clear space. The evacuation fleet accelerated to maximum speed, the celestial explorer navigating the way. Amber felt the guardian dragon's consciousness fade, its final thoughts a mixture of satisfaction and peace. Its sacrifice had saved thousands. The fleet escaped. The darkness eventually recovered, but by then, they were beyond its reach. Kate maintained a connection with the guardian dragon's fading, energy sensing its final moments. "I feel something else," Kate said as they watched Vega recede behind them. The dragon did something more than create a diversion. It seeded the darkness with its energy. Like a virus, the darkness that touched this world will carry that energy to others. It will weaken them from within. The fleet set course for Haven. The refugees would need a home. The 3 young Vegan dragons had bonded with Maya during the escape, their energy slowly recovering. News arrived from the remaining sister worlds. One had already fallen silent, but the 5th and final world showed strong defenses, its crystal network active, its dragon population thriving. They had been fighting the darkness for centuries, maintaining a stalemate. Amber stood in her quarters aboard the celestial explorer Spark. Resting on her shoulder, Blaze and Ember curled nearby. The loss of the guardian dragon left an emptiness in her, but also a new determination. The darkness can be defeated, she told her dragons. Not just held at bay, but truly overcome. The guardian showed us how Kate entered the room with Elena. The science team has analyzed the data from Vegas destruction. She said, "There's something you need to see." The holographic display showed the moment of the guardian sacrifice, but slowed down frame by frame. Energy patterns revealed something unexpected. The dragon's consciousness had not been destroyed. It had transformed, spread into the darkness itself. "It's changing them from within," said Elena. "Wherever that energy spreads, it disrupts the darkness' ability to maintain cohesion." Amber understood what the guardian had done. It had planted the seeds of the darkness destruction. A final gift more valuable than they had realized. The fleet would reach Haven in 2 weeks. By then, the Luminary and Earth forces would have prepared for the refugees. The 5th sister world had agreed to send representatives to Haven. A united front against the darkness was forming. Captain Reyes called Amber to. "The bridge sensors detect unusual energy patterns ahead," she said. "Not darkness. Something else." On the view screen, a swirling nebula appeared, colors shifting in impossible patterns. At its center, a shape was forming. "It's a dragon," said Kate in awe. "But like none we've ever seen." The shape solidified, resembling a dragon but composed of pure energy. Stars visible through its translucent form. Its wingspan would dwarf planets. Its eyes contained galaxies. "The Guardian has ascended," Amber whispered. "Not died, but evolved." The cosmic dragon regarded the fleet. Then, with a gesture that bent space itself, it created a pathway through the nebula, a shortcut that would cut their journey to Haven by days. "The 5th sister world awaits it," communicated not in words but in pure thought. Then the darkness, then beyond. Amber understood. This was not the end of their journey, but the beginning. The darkness could be defeated. The sister worlds united. The Guardian had shown them the way. As the fleet entered, the pathway created by the cosmic dragon, Amber felt a new connection forming, not just with her dragons or the ships around her, but with something vaster. The universe itself seemed to acknowledge their passage. The battle for the galaxy had truly begun. And for the first time since the darkness appeared millennia ago, there was real hope. Amber Hudson, once a simple explorer. Now the awakened one watched the stars streak past, through dragon eyes, through human eyes, through something beyond both. She saw the path ahead, and it was glorious.